Hey guys, this is FM Viktor Neustroev, and we continue our series of 5 videos devoted to the unofficial title, the best player of all time. This video is fourth and is devoted to the best Indian chess player, Viswanathan Anand. Anand is a national hero in India where chess is quite popular, and of course Anand has been playing at the top level for many years, and at least for that he already deserved to be on the list of candidates for the title, the best player of all time. Let's learn something about his contribution to chess and observe his game played in 2008 against Vladimir Kramnik. Vishy Anand is an Indian chess grandmaster and former world chess champion, of course. He became the first grandmaster from India in 1988, and he is one of a few players to have surpassed the Elo rating of 2800. He is also a 5 times world chess championship. He outplayed Vladimir Kramnik in 2008 and became a world champion. Then he defeated Vasilij Topalov in 2010 and then Boris Gelfand in 2012 and kept this title until he lost this match against Magnus Carlsen in 2013. It's not only me, but for example Vladimir Kramnik also said that he considered Vishy Anand to be a colossal talent and the greatest in the whole history of chess, and in terms of play, according to Kramnik's opinion, Anand is no way weaker than Kasparov. Let me also tell you some interesting facts about Vishy Anand. First, for example, Viswanathan is his father's name, and his given name is Anand. Apart from Tamil and English, he is also fluent in French, German and Spanish languages. And a minor planet discovered in 1988 has been officially named Vishy Anand. However, the most significant fact that proves that Anand deserves to be on the list of candidates that he is the only player who have won the World Chess Championship in the tournament, match and knockout format, as well as rapid time controls.
In this video I would like to demonstrate the game played between Vladimir Kramnik and Viswanathan Anand. d4, d5, c4, c6, knight f3, knight f6, knight c3, e6. This is what I play against d4. This line is called semi-Slav defense, and if white plays e3, it can be either Meron or anti-Meron variation. Knight bd7, bishop d3, d takes c4, and this is how Anand decided to play Meron variation. So bishop takes on c4, b5, bishop d3. Here one of the best moves nowadays is bishop to b7, but in that game a6 was played, another popular move. e4, c5, e5, c takes on d4. If in this position white decides to take on f6, then d takes c3, then for example f takes g7, bishop g7, and black is better. But in this position white can play a better move, knight b5. He sacrifices the knight for the b5 pawn. A takes b5 and then takes the knight on f6. But in this position black has to capture only with the g pawn. If for example he does queen f6, then bishop g5, the queen is trapped. If he does with a knight, then after bishop b5 it's a check, and then the d4 pawn is hanging. But if g capture is on f6, he can't capture on b5. If he plays such a move, we play queen e5 and gain the bishop. That's why here first white has to castle. White castles and we play queen b6, protecting the pawn. Queen e2. In this position black has several moves, bishop a6 and b4, but Vishy Anand decided to play bishop b7. That wasn't so popular that time when the game was played, but is quite a good move and is quite popular nowadays. So he sacrifices the pawn on b5, bishop takes on b5, bishop d6. So if bishop takes on d7, king d7, it's fine. Rook d1, rook g8. So black is totally focused on the king side attack here. And the d4 pawn is not hanging. If, for example, rook takes on d4, then what do you think black can do? You may pause the video and try to find the solution yourself. Okay. In such a case, the best option to play is not bishop f3, definitely. Because if bishop f3, queen f3, queen d4, but our queen on a8 is hanging too, and after king moves, he captures even the other rook. So bishop f3 doesn't work, but rook g2 works, because if now king takes, we just capture on d4 and the knight is pinned. If, for example, they don't capture but play king h1, which is quite a weird move, we capture on d4. And if knight d4, we can even checkmate into moves. King f1 looks like a better move. But even in this variation, black can capture on h2 with a rook. If knight is distracted to capture the rook on h2, then the other rook on d4 is hanging. That's why he'd better sacrifice on d6, but queen d6 protecting on h2, and this position is better for black, of course. So that's why after rook g8, the pawn on d4 is not hanging, and g3 should be played. This is what Vladimir Kuramnik played. Of course, he noticed everything. Rook g4. So then bishop f4. Bishop takes f4. That was a kind of a sacrifice, but actually here white is able to gain the material back. Knight d4, and now three pieces are under attack. The knight on d7 is also attacked with the rook from d1. h5 to support the rook on g4. Knight e6, f takes e6, rook takes d7. King f8, queen d3 with the idea to play queen h7 and checkmate. That's why here we have to trade the rooks. This is what Vladimir Kuramnik calculated. So you see, rook g7, king g7, g takes f4, he gains a piece back, but the position is approximately equal. They played several more moves to activate pieces, rook d8, queen e2, king h6 to get to a safe square, king f1, rook g8, a4, bishop g2 check, king goes to e1, this is the only spot, and bishop h3 threatening with rook g1. And this is where Vladimir Kuramnik made a mistake. Instead of playing something like rook d1, if rook checks on g1, just king escapes to d2 and it's fine. If bishop f5 in this position, then just queen f1 to control the g1 square. The position is slightly better for black. What did Vladimir Kuramnik? He played a rook a3, a rook g1, king d2, and with queen d4, black starts the attack on the enemy king. King c2, here bishop f5 was the best move, but actually Viswanathan Anand played another good move, bishop g4 to provoke f3, because it weakens the second rank. Bishop f5 check now, bishop blocks on d3, and bishop h3 back with the idea to play rook g2. In this position, there is nothing that white can do. He loses the rook anyway. For example, there are no squares for the king to move. So rook g2, even if king b3 is played, rook g2 is coming, and then rook b2 with a checkmate. So if he tries to move the queen, for example queen e4, then we can still play rook g2, king goes to the first rank, then queen g1, no, not rook g1, but queen g1. He has to block, but after queen h2, looks like the game is over. We are threatening with both rook g1 and rook takes b2. This is where White realized that he has to sacrifice the queen, but to hope that he can promote the a5 pawn. That's why he played such a move. Rook g2, a6, rook captures queen, bishop captures, bishop f5 check, king b3, queen e3 check, king a2, queen takes e2, a7. How to stop the a8 pawn? What do you think? Please suggest any ideas what black can do. You may pause the video and find the solution yourself. So unfortunately we can't play bishop e4, but we can keep checking and then relocate our bishop. What can he play now? If he plays b3, then queen c2 leads to a checkmate. If he blocks with a rook, then at least queen d5 and we control the a8 square, threatening to play bishop c2 on the next move. For example, even king a1, bishop c2. Rook b5 to distract the queen, queen takes b5. a8 equals queen, but we are able to take the enemy queen anyway. Like that. That's why after this move, after queen c4, the only option for white is to play king a1. Queen f1 check. King a2. Bishop b1. If he goes to a1, he gets a checkmate. And queen b1. That's why this is where he resigned, because if he goes to b3, black can just capture on f3, relocate the bishop to e4 and stop the a pawn. That's why white resigned in this position. That was a brilliant game played by Viswanathan Anand. He didn't make almost any mistakes. Maybe his opening was not so good and the position was playable for both sides, but he was playing with black and he wanted to outplay Vladimir Kramnik. Okay, thank you for your attention.
In this video you learned about Viswanathan Anand, the best Indian chess player. Thank you for watching and make sure to like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel and share it with your friends, chess players. I hope you enjoyed this video and liked the game analysis that I provided you with, but if you think that it wasn't the best Viswanathan Anand's games and there is another game in his chess career that deserves to be the best, please share it into the comment section below this video. Okay, don't miss my next video about Magnus Carlsen, but if you don't want, please watch the video on the screen next about Bobby Fischer, who also deserved to claim an unofficial title of the best chess player of all time. Okay, enjoy this next video and I'll see you there in a moment.